Air traffic generates about 3% of all greenhouse gas emissions that accelerate global warming. Air passenger volumes have been increasing rapidly over the past decades until the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2021, air travel started to increase again, and this growth is estimated to continue. Along with passenger volumes, carbon dioxide emissions from air traffic have also increased. Even though the proportion of air traffic in total global emissions is small, its impact on an individual person's carbon footprint is big. In 2021, an individual person's average carbon footprint was about 4.7 tons. To stop global warming at 1.5 degrees as required in the Paris Agreement, the average footprint should be reduced nearly to half, to 2.5 tons per person by 2030. In 2050, this figure should be as low as approximately 0.7 tons. In proportion to this, emissions from air traffic are high. One long-haul return flight between, for example, Helsinki and Bangkok has climate impacts equivalent to as much as 4 tons of carbon dioxide. A return flight within Europe between, for example, Tallinn and Paris generates emissions corresponding to 0.8 tons of carbon dioxide. So, a single flight can take up most of an individual's carbon emission quota, or even exceed it. Air traffic emissions are generated by a small proportion of the world's population. The most frequently flying 1% account for approximately half of this. Approximately 80% of people in the world have never flown. To reduce emissions, air traffic operators are exploring renewable fuels, developing lower emission airplanes, and increasing the efficiency of air traffic. However, these actions are not cutting emissions fast enough. Therefore, we also need to cut the volume of air traffic. If air travel cannot be completely avoided, flying less frequently can reduce emissions. Transport has changed immensely over the course of history, and climate warming is challenging us to drive new changes. It is an important task for governments and companies to promote more sustainable transport. However, each of us can also help create a more sustainable travel culture. How will you be making your next trip?